I know there's people that probably also going through the list of stuff that I know about indicators and approaches. It just occurred to me, um, there's the pretty looking charts and then the ugly looking charts. Has anybody ever seen point and figure charts? When I saw one of those, I said, well, gosh, by golly, how would you make money from that chart? So all these charts, Ranko charts. Well, what? Okay, that's great. Now what do I do? Well, can't you see the Ranko chart? If it's blue, buy. If it's red, sell. Okay, so just pull the trigger. What should I do? Risk 2% of the account? Yeah. Now you could have make 5%, and then you made 3% overall. I guess if you consider a linear 50-50 coin flip. And all those metrics, and the trading's for people with half a brain, I suppose. It attracts. Bill Williams says that it attracts very intelligent people. Trading does, because they're like, oh, wait a minute, I think I've got a pencil behind my ear. I think I got this figured out. I look at the chart and I'm like, yep, I got you. Okay, let's put that trade on. And I thought, well, gosh, it just really. And the big problem is the volatility. And there's this thing called cycles, too. So you have these people have a view of the market that, well, every Wednesday or every morning or every evening, there's this, that's the idea of the London breakout. So it could be the London fake out or the London breakout. And maybe you made, if you got the sizing right and the stop and the structure right and everything just right, you made money on the London fake out more than you made on the London breakout. So you just contradicted your whole trade plan. Right? You've already destroyed the logic thread. It's like, where you go from there. It's like, well, I want to leave the house. I want to go north, but I got to go south before I go north. So it's kind of a strange thing. And is it worth the southern train? So if Pips is trying to get somewhere, look at an aerial view of your home. And I guess it's not hard to think about that now, because everybody's supposed to be in some fucking huddled in the corner fetal position like a baby. Yeah, they want to, the way to, in the Orwellian world of we know better. But I think this is a classic situation of size. There are so many people in the world pulling at the throttle of how it should go. A ship of fools, literally. And Andrew Cardwell, in his RSI presentation, said many a time that the metaphor that when a market is too overbought, so to speak, or too oversold or unfair value, it's like everybody in the ship is all at one side looking over. They're all looking over that side, then it comes flipping back the other way. So on the euro dollar or on the British pound, all these markets, the dollar basically today, if you take the insane sell-off, it was just 12 hours ago, so the half-day cycles. So I used to have, the very first broker I ever had was in the United States was FXCM. Before they, what happened there. But you could trade there with $50 and I think 500 to 1 leverage in the United States. In the United States. Hard to believe. I couldn't believe it myself. And then, of course, bye-bye. They either ran their thing off the road, or the herd, just the whole lag of all the other people finally figuring that out. Like the real estate crash, is that really? That's what, like the last guy to buy that fat house, and like everybody's talking about, well, we're getting a new house. If everybody's talking about it, you're in trouble. When everybody's talking about Bitcoin, it was maxing out. It was climaxing. Then it took like a 50% at least sell off. And now everybody's running like, oh, buy toilet paper. No, go buy some newspaper. No, buy toilet paper. So people swinging on the ship. Oh, look over here. No, look over there. Look over here. But meanwhile, there is that cycle. So I believe in the auction theory. I'll put a link to the auction guy explaining what unfair value is that these spikes, these momentary down moves. So I'm down about $40 here in equity from since last video where this thing just keeps buying as it plunges. It only has one technique. It's not able to take advantage of this breakout. So coming into Asia here on the British pound, we could have traded a breakout. But this is the kind of 12-hour. As soon as you come into Asia here, it's like when London, so about 5 in the morning, you got the rollover into the United States, and this is kind of like, well, the rollover to Asia, and just crazy prices. Severe price breakdown into, and this is where it becomes difficult, and people are constantly saying, well, would you just keep buying into that? Yes, if you were scaling in, you would keep buying into that. But if you're going to do a precision order entry, you have a buy limit here. You've got a, based on this low, and you have a buy limit here on this wick, and on and on. And when you get down below here is when you really have to kind of like go against everything in your soul of freaking out, is to buy more even here. And every time you get to this new low, so all these are critical prices, every one of these reversal points. And here you're buying maybe 10 standard lots. Then here, and I know it's very difficult to imagine that you'd still be buying, but there's a reason to buy, and the reason is structurally here. So we're without regard to loss of momentum on the fact that this is smashing down so fucking hard, it ain't going to be able to keep it up. That is like 1 hour smash down on the British pound into a void, into unfair value, or I suppose fair to reverse value. In other words, it's a big contention. It's the deepest hole looking left, and the scalp would have been here. If you're going to do that same technique here, you had to get that scalp off. See how it rips down. So let me close this navigator to get more screen space. So those kind of trades are a whole different kind of trade than a momentum trade, because the momentum trade is going to be so here we go, top of the hour. And it's 1 hour chart. We keep smashing down and smashing down. And the volatility is just insane. So you just move down 100 pips, you bounce 50, you're down 60, you're up. I mean, this is going on. Like very severe volatility. You can't trade this with your normal stop if you're used to using a 20 pip stop in a particular size. So that kind of just makes that whole trade plan just go away. You can't really do that trade because you could never survive it. You can't survive the smash around. And each session, this is like a big hot potato or musical chairs as this currency. The dollar is bid around the planet from session to session, and they have different numbers, and this place has got Corona specials, dark, Corona dark, Corona light. It's crazy, so you can't even, you put those buy limits in there. And by the way, this counts trading without stops, apparently. This robot's trading without stops. Yeah, so buying into that plunge now, psychologically, as you're buying into it and you're like, holy shit, I'm down like $800. Fuck, I'm down like $300. Fuck, I'm down. You're going to be up $2,000 in the next 8 hours, but your brain doesn't see it that way because you're under attack. You're taking on immense losses, and this is how it is. That's how it is if you're going to scale in, because you know that the first ticket, you could get stopped out of that, but it doesn't matter because you've got literally a machine gun. You got another clip to load, or magazine, or cartridge, and people get all picky about it's not a clip, Joe. So all that, right? So if you believe it's a war room, okay, if it's a war room, I always wondered why the empowered trading people didn't have any fucking bullets, like fucking Obama traders. Nothing in the cupboard's bare. We got no fucking weaponry. And you can afford. See, people don't understand that you have to fucking go in under to get over. When you first buy your house, if the fucking market just pulls back a little bit, you're under right out the gate on your house. If you're in a sideways slumping real estate market and you buy, well, you got to raise your rent. I mean, you got to do something. You're either going to rent this thing out or you're going to sit there and put your feet up and get out your cigar and say, look at this giant piece of property I own. Isn't it great? So there's only, there's not a lot to. So in the end, why are you trading in the first place, right? If you have enough money to trade, then if it's money you can afford to lose, this is another thing that just drives me nuts. You're trading with money. Who can afford to lose money? Only trade with money you can afford to lose. Are you get the fuck out of here? Only play guitars you can afford to break. I'm not Jimi Hendrix. I'm not lighting lighter fluid on my guitar. Yeah, Jimmy went too far there. Never put Zippo on your fucking Strat. But I guess Zappa's son, Dweezil Zappa's got one of his scorched guitars. It's probably worth more scorched. But yeah, on and on. So, this is a very, very volatile market. So I can't run my 5 pips. You can't even, it's going to last 40 seconds or it might last 40 minutes with your 10 pip stop. You better be going the other fucking way. If you're in any kind of size, the guy that was talking about peanuts, well, you know what? People that are trading peanuts in these markets got they can take way more punishment and they can survive volatility. Because you could be up like 10 grand, and next thing you're like, I'm only up 2 grand. What happened? Or you're down 2 grand. You open a demo and just trade standard lots just to see what that looks like. Put on 10 standard lots in the wrong direction in any of these markets right now. I don't care if it's crude oil, whatever you're doing. Like, this. How can you deny structure? Structure is all the history of the prices. If the market just smashed up and down and created this structure, and I'm just going to call it, my metaphor is it's a building. Each bar is a building. And you get the basement is underneath the candle and the rooftop is above. So it's kind of a floating building. So if I want to buy the basements and I'm going to sell the rooftops, that doesn't always happen because sometimes the market gets all scrunched down, it gets very, very quiet, and all of a sudden it becomes ripe for a breakout strategy. So if you're able to pull out your breakout, put on your breakout hat, and this is another thing that you would do to trading psychology, you would put on your breakout or get out your breakout scripts and just go, you know what? The market's going sideways. I don't know. Let's just put on a hedge. And to be able to switch gears like that. Now, that's like having a pedal board and going to the, we're just going to play with chorus. Well, you can't just, or you're going to play with tremolo. Well, you're going to probably play the song a little different. I don't know. Do you play around the effect? In other words, that there's intense phasing and chorus and all these harmonizers, all this processing. And there's all the artifacts that go with that, and you kind of have to change your technique a little bit because now those artifacts, you can't just hold the, if you have delay, what's the point of using delay unless you're going to do staccato or you're going to do just impulse, little burst. So, you have to change. You can't just, you could have delay and hold the note, I suppose. And then you've got this other image behind you. But if you're going to emphasize the delay and notice the delay, you won't notice it until you hit at least space between your notes. And I think trading is, it's like being in a band where all of a sudden everybody just turns their amplifiers up to, or speeds the tempo up to a point at which you're like, that's not even playable. And that's so you have to drop out. So when the music comes to a still point, you see, there's an opportunity. Like I played with people where you're on stage with them, the adrenaline's so high. There's no way you're going to play a solo. There's no space. You can't. It's just slamming around. You're just like, you can't even. You're going to ride it, or you're just going to have to not play, stand there. Just fake like you're playing. Turn down the volume on your guitar. Who would know? And you can't hear yourself. And if you crank up, there's only so much sound pressure available in a room. I don't know if you ever played with people or been in a room where you're like, there's just everything is just glaring and standing waves. And there is no pressure left. There's no, nobody can make anything louder than what's going on. And there's no contrast. And so the contrast of these markets is so harsh. It's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. And it's like trying to catch a wild animal. If you're even trying to ride this thing in any kind of way of, wow, this is a good setup. Yeah, you would have to change your whole trade plan based on this volatility because, yeah, that setup is now 10 times the risk that it was. 10 times. Easily. And you got to wait. So you're either waiting to get filled on some perfect trade that never happens, or you're going to scale in maybe 10 or 20 every time you make the scaling more smooth. You also make your win-loss smoother. Now, you could do a hard exit. You could do a scaled entry, and then it comes back to a certain point, and you just dump the whole position. You go flat, come back. Now you've got, so you've just basically reloaded your gun. Because it's not, if you're going to try to kidnap the prices, maybe you're or you have hostages, you're holding the position. Maybe these hostages die on you or get stopped out. They kill themselves. So if it's a war, the war room, I like that. But I mean, the tactics these people are using, the same kind of coronavirus projection models. See, same stupidity. So you see it all around you. The same overthinking and, we built a model and we project this. And of course, you're going to make doomsday predictions and also utopian perfect, like if we just got rid of this and that, everything would be perfect. Well, you don't know that because it's a dynamic system. If oil goes down, there used to be a thing, if oil went up, gold went up, but they're going against each other. And there used to be a time when there was no way platinum would be cheaper than gold. No way. If you heard that with platinum was cheaper than gold, you go, huh? And I remember this about 20 years ago. Platinum went below gold about $50, and then it kept going. I thought, fuck. And then palladium, wow. So, it's not a, you have to trade with peanuts. In this environment, if you wanted to do the same trades, you got to trade with peanuts because you got to put a 50 pip stop on when you used to be able to put a 20 pip stop on. I don't know how that's not even, why that's not, and this is the ATR, well, I'm sure by now, that the 14 period ATRs over at No Nonsense have perked up and they're like, well, the ATRs are kind of high. Hey, let's put a trade on. I got filter number C1 and C2 lined up. Hey Joe, what do you think about? Look at this. You liked it? Oh yeah, isn't that Ikamushu? Ikamushu to me is like, I guess you gotta you gotta light incense and stuff and candles for that trading system to really work. You gotta get some candles going. Like at the Sting video. He's walking around all those candles. So that's the cycles. We got the cycles, the cycle traders. We got the astrological traders, geometry traders probably out there. Oh, so you got... when I saw the line chart, that really struck me because I go, looks like RSI. And that's when I did the correlation between RSI. And I really understood RSI at that point because it's based on closing prices. It's a very clean index. It's the best indicator in the world if you're looking for a stripped down, clean indicator. And then people say, it doesn't, I got stopped out. Yeah, because it's on closing prices. So there is no wicks on RSI. Now you could set RSI in highs and lows and then do a line chart on highs and lows. And you could create this kind of nice looking chart, That is possible. You could do that. But I'm not. I did it as an experiment once, but I'm not going to do it again because I don't have a trade plan for that, and I'm not going to babysit a chart to see if it's going to make a new high. I just look at the chart and go, "Wow, okay, I see a hole So I know where my limit orders are going to go for the whole trade. And the market orders, I go, oh yeah, this is like, if I see the market drop 20 pips in 5 minutes, I'm buying, no questions asked. I'm like, wow, fuck. If I'm there to see that move, I'm like, that is ridiculous. Um, it is typically, that is a fast market. That's a lot of momentum, but that's unsustainable. And those are flash moves. And what's give you the spike, and it makes it unfair. Why is it unfair? Because it's unsustainable. People are like, are you kidding with that price? Of course, you can also make the, maybe this is the whole point of this big boy theory, is that people want to think, oh, it's me against the big boys, and how can I outsmart them? Yeah, if that's the way you're doing it, then you have to think like, I suppose, way outside the box. Further outside than an institutional person. You just have to look for they could just keep tanking. What do I do then? Well, if you have enough bullets left, and you killed some of the enemy, so to speak, you've made at least 5 or 10 pips or 20 pips on a dumb shit move. Because to load the whole fucking thing and not even scalp out anything, it's just not, you can't survive. Because you could, okay, so if it's a smaller position, you could load a thing and then let it retrace and dump. But typically, the first dead cat bounce, you need to scalp out of something there. And you also have to think, well, what would this thing be in the next 4 hours? Could it go down in the next 4 hours? Could it keep dropping, So all these are considerations. And then like, okay, it's getting very quiet. Okay, we could probably get this thing to break out of a 1 hour bar or half-hour bar or 90 minutes, which would be 3 half-hour bars. Can it break out of that and make a little blip? And is that a high probability setup? And this thing about I only take high probability trades. Well, they're all high probability. It's just that, would you trade every fucking minute? There's a high probability trade every minute. High probability that they'll fill you, that once you're filled on a limit order. So let's imagine you put the order in and 7 minutes later they fill it. You're like, huh, well, that was the probability of the trade working out. Like the clock starts running at that moment. But before that, it was like the probability, can I get filled on this trade? Now if you pull the trigger at the market, guaranteed there is no doubt that you are in. And now it's a matter of, well, do I wait another hour and buy again? Yeah, if you're going to trade and build a position at the market, yeah. Otherwise, if you're going to build a position on structure, you would have the limits in and the market would come to your order banks and they're going to crush through, or they're going to crush in and retrace. And hopefully inside they embedded some scalps into the bottom, especially the really fat tickets. If you're going to buy heavy at the bottom, those are naturally going to be scalps because usually people scalp big. And so that basket of tickets could be in pretty heavy for that entry. And that's just how you'd have to do it. And then when the market calms down, the other problem comes where you've built everything around psycho markets. And for the moment, if you just started trading in the last month, which would be pretty amazing if you just started trading first time in your life, and you're like used to this insanity because you're like, oh, I see how much that costs. And then it calms down. You're going to be probably over trading, trying to force, thinking, wait, when's this going to heat up again? And it's like a storm coming through. It's like a hurricane because you don't really know, is that the last gust of wind? It's really hard to, if you stand outside and there's gusts of wind, can you really predict the next gust? Can you model that thing before it happens? It's gusty, which means volatility, but do you know what is the fluctuation between standard wind and getting blown to bits? And just because it's wind and you're on a sailboat, I don't think it does you any good to have a gusty wind because you can't take advantage of that. So people like to trend trade because they think they're out on a sailboat and they're just going to sit there and catch a nice steady breeze and just keep on tacking the thing back and forth. Okay, the southern wind's coming. Okay, switch over. Okay, we're just cruising down. Isn't that nice out here, honey? And here comes a fucking rogue wave. And there's no way this thing's, unless your boat is equipped to just throw out anchors and go into like DEFCON mode or something. It's not going to happen. And like most, but if you get stopped out in the boat, you're not going to die. I mean, you're going to die in the boat, but if you get stopped out of a trade, you're not going to die. You could kill yourself, I suppose. Get very upset about the trade. People have done it, but that's if you're in giant positions, Which if you were ever in a giant position and you made a bunch of money, which I'm sure we all have, been at any kind of position where you're like, holy fuck, I just made like so much money in 4 hours. It's a crime, and then either that trade doesn't come up again, or you just lose a little bit at a time, looking for that same so-called setup. So viewing the world in setups, or the market in setups, I see the vacuum as a setup. In other words, it's not a setup in the sense of like a top becomes a bottom and we had a triangle. I'm seeing the whole market has all these nooks and crannies that we can go into, and there may be a setup. This is a guy that was like, well, moving average crossover system. Tell me your system. Yeah, moving average crossover. And what we do here is, after we see that's crossed over, we start looking for a particular kind of candlestick pattern. Are you writing this down, people? I'm charging for this seminar. Oh man, it'd be so funny to have some guy show up like the unknown comic with a bag over his head, unknown forex trader, giving practical advice on candlestick trading with moving averages. Well, we use that as a baseline, see. But you could trade the candle. When I looked at the hammer, I said, that's a 4-hour hammer. I got a trade plan for that. It's called buy the fucking wick and dump it at the head of the hammer. I'm out. So I was like, dude, I think I can figure this out now, because the whole thing with these trading books that fucking make you want to kill yourself is nobody ever talks about how to execute a trade, or where the fuck to get in, or how to trade that candle. I got 3 Steve Neeson books here. These things are fucking like $60 to $80 a book. You see a trade plan in there? Nope. You just see all this bullshit about, well, this is, back in Asia, when they used to trade rice. I'm like, can we just get to the part where we're going to make some fucking money? I think that's really cute. And I always felt like, aren't I a good student? I know, this is like, they used to do this with rice trading or some shit. I thought it was candles, but where's that ikamushu salad? Can I get that on the side to hold the Corona, please? I just had too much Corona in my diet. I'm trying to get immune, though. Oh man, and these people just, every number that comes out, every little zigzag of the data, people are just knee jerk. Watching the market go up and down, it is like watching people raid the toilet paper rack, and then you come back the next day. Now, if you go to Walmart now, there's more water than you could fucking. It's unbelievable. You can't get to the water because this is the order imbalance. That's supply and demand, which does exist, and it creates some unfair value, overpriced stuff, right? People are like, there's no way I'm paying that much for a ventilator. When I got a case of Corona here, I could drink instead. All these things, people just running from, it's just amazing. Look at this, is amazing. People are just losing their minds over nothing. And just the price swings, you just can't trend. I don't know, the trend traders, how are they doing this shit? And of course, that's another thing. You're in some giant position because you're like, yeah, I'm a trend trader and this is going to be a great trade one day. And meanwhile, the market's slamming up and down and you're like, fuck, they just wiped out my account. Like, how am I supposed to fucking even try to follow my baseline now? I got to rewrite the algorithm. The funny thing is, the no-nonsense guys right now, they're probably getting some hits on trades and setups based on certain criteria with their baseline matching up with their ATRs, but can you imagine the guy that just started with that? He's like, I don't know if this is moving. And then he's saying, well, RSI is like an old-fashioned, or this indicator was designed to land airplanes, so it's no good. No, it's just data filters, And momentum does exist. And so does spikes in the market. So does unfair value, temporary prices. It cannot be sustained. But yeah, you're never going to be able to do it, I don't think, with this kind of I built the ultimate glass sunglasses that I can, they completely, they can sustain any amount of punishment. Like I can just stare into the sun I can just put my face on the sun. Well, I don't think so. So that's what you're seeing here is that people cannot. There's no way. And I just haven't gone to the no nonsense Discord, but you can only imagine what they're saying. Like, wow, this is a fuck you candle. Yeah, market just went down 120 pips all in one day. Gave back all the gains, so to speak, from where it started down at the bottom, where I got in with that perfect Gartley pattern, and now it's slammed all the way back. How is that not happening to people? And if that you buy and hold, I think it's this morning I said buy and hold. Each one of these cliches, one of these kind of catchphrases about the market, and know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Get the fuck out of here. Like nobody knows on a trade by trade basis, and this is all the Mark Douglas thing. You're on a trade by trade basis with this. You can't put you can't dial in your war room and go, we're just going to build a daisy cutter right there in the metro area. Yeah, you're probably going to. Well, the daisy cutters like what I'm doing, but if you took the exact drone shot to just precisely shoot people right in the head, one shot, so you don't have to waste bullets. I spent money on the bullet, the gunpowder and stuff. So yeah, it's very, very volatile, extreme markets, and you can make and win and lose money very quickly, very quickly. That's the thing. It's like I just made fucking $800 and now I'm down $400. What the fuck's going on here? And this guy, I took this guy's trading course. He says that when the moving averages cross over, okay, I got that checklist. Let me look at the chart again. Yeah, they crossed over. Okay. Now I'm waiting for an engulf candle. God, that could be a way. Did you say I have to wait for my indicators to catch up? When you hear the no-nonsense guys say dumb shit like, you got to wait for your indicators to catch up, you're like, well, maybe I need a new indicator that doesn't have any lag. And that's when God invented the one-period moving average. The line chart, it's very crude. It's just every hour, the latest prices. Then you got the wick, which is the insanity that happened during the hour. And I think that is, if you could trade the line chart and there were no wicks, you'd be like, I got it. This is very easy. And there's no volatility in the line chart. Notice that it doesn't even compare to the wicks. So if you did a monthly line chart, closing prices, you have one piece of data every month. On a bar chart, you got two pieces of data, the high and the low, but you only have one price on a line chart. And that's why it's like the rainbow of charts. I mean, it is the ultimate chart's the line chart, but it's untradeable from a standpoint of like, okay, if this thing starts to smash up and down from one week to the other week, I got you that it's unchanged 3 weeks in a row, but we got like 500 pip wicks on this thing. Yeah, and what's your point? So, I mean, but dude, we're in like 10 standard lots, and I'm getting killed. And I've been up, I've been down. I should have got out when I was up. Well, the cure for that is you got to get out of something along the way. Oh, well, fuck, I don't want to do that because can't you see? I back tested this thing. And look at this Gartley. And look at this thing. The top becomes a bottom here. Somebody explains that to you. And they go, yeah, but the futures, not to mention, that all aside, the true range, or the ATR per day or per 14 period, however laggy you want to do it so your fucking indicators have to catch up, you're like, dude, this is on fire. Like, I mean, this is like, we've got to have a whole different approach. We've got to trade super wide. Now, the market has gotten giant. It is so deep, and there's so, I bet volume is up. I bet with these wicks, these giant wicks we see, and I don't look at volume, but I bet volume's up. There's got to be money pouring in and out. And think of all the toilet paper, and suppose these are big boys, right? I don't know, the big boys panicking and buying all the toilet paper. What's the mindset of these so-called big boys? But look, if you need that to go against, it's me against the banks. So I look at it like that. I do look at it like, hey, you know what? I paid interest. I mean, I'm paying bank fees on certain accounts. I'm like, well, you know what? I'll take it out of their hide here. If you think you're trading against the house, the big house, the big bank, this is if that's helping you psychologically in make it like you're a missionary. This people need that, right? It's kind of like a incentive, I guess, some moral incentive. But see, so if it's like that, I got it. I see what you're saying. But it's also the other side of it is people treat it like, well, how can I possibly make money when the big boys are out there? And then this other guy keeps sending me these fucking things for his some putts that goes on TV, and this guy's some stupid dashboard indicator shit. Oh, we got to see we go along. We're in long phase. Just trade from the long side right here. I just can't see this view of the market anymore. Like, if that was true, why do you have a price chart? Okay, if that's true, just put up your fucking indicators. If you really are an indicator trader, that's the other thing I said, well, if you're really trading indicators, what the fuck you got the prices up there for? Just stretch your indicators all the fucking whole panel and forget the prices. You should be able to trade that indicator. Well, I got to see. No, you don't. Why? Stare at the dashboard on your car. Don't worry the windshield. Don't look at what the structure is that you're hitting. That's nonsense. As long as you got gas in the car and it's not overheating, just keep driving. Besides, you can see the RPMs and the speed you're driving. So it's very... these are tough times for people because they're not used to order imbalance at the store. You go in there and you're like, really? I don't think you could buy alcohol, rubbing alcohol. I looked down the aisle and I'm like, they haven't restocked that? But probably using it maybe in the hospital. This is the thing. Oh, well, that's more important than you. And now we have this whole order imbalance where this person's life's more important than you. Being able to make money and, cut people's lawns or, it only takes, and the thing is people are so out of their mind. You take a state with 10 million people and 2,000 people die. 2,000 people die in 2 months in a state of 10 million people. People lose their fucking mind. They lose their fucking mind. They shut everything down. Now, people are dying at a rate of 3,000 deaths per day in the United States in a fucking car. Is anybody shutting the place down? I don't think so. That's a number. That's 1,000 points higher than the coronavirus on the worst day. Yeah, but... Or how about people dying of cancer? Or dying of just, they killed themselves already because they just opened that restaurant and they took out some big giant fucking loan and nobody's bailing them out. And they're the so-called big boys. Well, those people, they got reserves. Maybe they are liquidating their portfolios and covering that one trade there. So they got this going, they got that going, and no, it's just I just saw the euro just dropped here in 1 hour like 30 fucking pips. Asian just fell out of bed. Asian breakout to the downside. But dude, you gotta trade. Did you trade that? I mean, or are you just waiting for next week when the prices calm down a little bit, and this is when people, it's calmed down. My indicator's caught up. I know what that means. Your indicator's caught up, by the way. I'm not wondering what that means. It means that, okay, we got, the volatility's calmed down, and here comes my move. It's coming back to the moving average. You're getting another signal, and you're at a doji. It's a doji entry. The market has to calm down for the indicators to catch up. Because you don't want to buy just because it crossed over moving average crossover, just because it crossed over, you don't pull the buy trigger. Now, it looks like that at first when you look at the chart, yeah, but if you bought there and held that position, you couldn't hold that position, dude. And if you could, it's too small of a position. You're trading for peanuts. That's what the guy said. You're trading for peanuts. Yeah, but I'm trading for peanuts that adds up to enough peanuts like I could open a peanut store. That's the only way to survive it. I'm never going to put on, even if I think the market's going to do X, I'm not going to put on a giant position without a stop. Because even if I triple that account and then I quadruple that account, then you got to start over. If you blow up that account, you got to deposit that 500 again and do the whole thing again. So if that's annoying, if that's as annoying as putting on the trade, or you've paid some guy, these empowered trading people with their fucking harmonic scanning courses, that's some sick shit, And this guy, he's on the radio, this Jason Stapleton. This is the first guy I ever made fun of. I go, look at this fucking putz. He's got some bullshit radio thing. He's a military guy, so he's like, well, I'm Mr. Yeah, dude, you gotta be kidding with that Gartley shit in the 2618 club. These are harebrained. This is like the guy that's selling the course how to meet fucking, a beautiful girl that's not addicted to drugs. How to meet Mrs. Right. Or Mrs. Right now. Okay, you made so much money with that book and all that shit, like the Rogue Trader. This guy that blew up all these natural gas guy. He wrote a book. You go look Amazon, top fucking sales. All these stuff's right in front of, all the evidence is in front of you of people that have done, same thing in the music business. People just, so fucking overnight sensation, they just fucking do so many drugs, they're dead, bye-bye. How many people have died? And they didn't make it to 30 years old. They write some crazy song. They're throwing TV sets out of a hotel room. Next thing you know, boom, they're dead. Look at the guy from The Who, the drummer from The Who, out of his fucking mind. Oh, isn't that cute? Nah, it's not cute. I mean, you could do that. Like, you could trade. He was definitely in a highly volatile situation. So volatility, yeah, when you're riding up, it's great. Now, if you don't cash out, if you don't retire, and what do you think the chances Keith Moon from the band The Who, I don't know if you heard this band, what's the chances he was going to like simmer down a little bit and go, you know what? I mean, we've made a lot of money, guys, and I'm fucking broke my teeth on the table in the hotel, and I think I'm just gonna back it off a notch. I'm gonna lift. If you drive like drag racing, I'm gonna lift off the throttle. No, these people are hell bent, and they wouldn't be there if they weren't intense. So that also goes along with it. You're an intense person. Well, I guess the skill is to be not intense. To have the other side. If you're a trend trader, maybe you got to start to think about range trading because you're like, this trend trading is fucking bullshit. I got to wait for these indicators to catch up. You got to have a way to trade reversals. I got to have a way to trade breakouts, or I got a way to trade trend trades and reversals, like most opposite, I suppose, trade plans, and everything in between. Can I do a blend of that? Yeah, I guess you should do a blend if you want to always be making some kind of money from obvious things that we always know happen over and over again. They always say, oh, this pattern happens every day. Yeah, but in a different dimension, in a different sizing, in a different volatility, and on a different time frame. 15-minute chart looks just like the 4-hour chart if you frame it just right. And this would be kind of cherry-picking data, depending how you zoom in and out of the chart. That is going to give you these perspectives that make decisions change. If you zoom out, you think, oh, I don't think I like this trade. Not come to think of it, especially if you're in some scalp where you're trying to make 8 pips or 25 pips and you can't see even 25 pips because you zoomed out and the trade just disappears and you're like, yeah, but look at the structure back here. And like, okay, but that trade would be 400 pips deep and it may never come down there. That's the empowered trading view, top down. Look at the monthly chart. Why? What are you planning on living for the next 500 years? Well, there's a setup on the monthly. Yeah, dude, that was like fucking 3.5 years ago. That ain't fucking gonna happen for another 5.5 years. You gonna wait that long? Well, yeah, because here, no nonsense. We don't risk money. We don't lose money. I mean, this guy in the fucking room, this dick who's like complaining to the moderator. Are you here to moderate? Is this trading, or are you guys just fucking here to be like, well, I'm just here to be polite with each other? And that guy that had the fucking the no nonsense guy had a Discord, and he had. I'll never forget. I made this joke about Ryan Brown, and he's like, how he was great looking. He was good looking for a gay guy or something, and he deleted that comment. I mean, I never got to read it because I wanted to read it and crack up a little bit. Deleted immediately. We'll have none of that around here. I'm like, man, this is, you're an uptight guy, and you can see it in your trading, right? It comes through in your trading, so you have to trade your personality. So people aren't really, that's where I really kind of guess I get people don't agree with me. And I don't blame them. They're like, dude, you're just too rough. But that's how I'm trading. I trade fucking raw. I trade like closer to Sue Lee, the famous samurai trader. I mean, this guy, he's like, yeah, fucking Asian people are like, yeah, dude, hit me with a bat again. I'm getting used to it. No, I'm into it now. Who knows these Chinamen? Maybe they're like, hey, zip it up here. We're laser weld you into your room. You ain't coming out. Fuck that Corona. Hey, ride that Corona out, bitch. Americans are like, oh, I think I stubbed my toe. Can somebody shut down the economy? Just a minute. I've got a lever here. Yeah, we're gonna make it illegal for you to free up this space. Fuck you. Fuck Windows. What did you ever see shit like that coming up on Windows 3.1? Free up this space, dude. You would just get a screen. It would lock. It would freeze up. Take me back home to the old days. Yeah, I gotta wait to get paid on these trades. We're underwater a little bit here. Look we're coming back, dude. We're with the brilliance of Ryan Brown here. We're back to where we were, and I'm in about 50K here. Not bad, 50K. All executed by the robot. Look at this thing. Bought the plunge. You gotta love it. I put a very tight grid on this. Look at the tight grid. I put a 5-pip grid on this British pound. So this thing's buying. That's a 15-minute chart of the British pound. It's buying every 5 pips it plunges. It's very aggressive. It's making money. I don't know why Ryan Brown. Of course, it's only making money because we are in psycho swing modes. The markets are up 5. They're up 50, they're down 80, they're up 50, they're down 80. People are like losing their minds. So it's very treacherous, and I think this thing we can make the $6,000 on this account, I swear to God. And I haven't taken anything off. I've let this thing cash out by its own discretion. Robot discretion. And look, it's short the yen. I like this trade. I don't know if the time frame matters. Look at this thing. Let me zoom in. Oh, that's my true range. 8 here at the bottom. I think this is, it's short. So it's kind of getting its ass kicked. I'm not sure what these lines mean. Is this where it put on the trade maybe? It went short here? It went short into that, I think. Oh, no, sorry. Here it is. It bought this. I can't change the colors either. There's no way to change the colors. Maybe I have to get the pro version. So it bought this collapse, and then it cashed out everything there. Brilliant. That was a great fucking trade by the robot. And now it's going up. I'm selling into this rally. It's definitely going against this. All right, so here we go. So here we go. All right. So, wow. I just can't imagine what these guys at No Nonsense are going through. This is the 5-minute British pound. So look at this trap down here. I got a little sidetracked there. I was talking about the entries on the British pound. So if you look at these windows, it doesn't occur to you at the time. If you're not looking at this chart, and this is a top-down view, but not in a a Gartley sense. That is just pure retardation. The Gartley. Oh my God. I just can't even believe somebody would patent the phrase harmonic trading. That is just, somebody should take you out and shoot you. So on the 1 hour chart, you see these slots, and that's going back just 2 days. But if you go down to the small time frame yesterday, the 15-minute chart, you can see all how you would have cashed out of that. Because when it comes in there, it rips all the way back. You're already out of that trade. And you could hold for the engulf, which I believe this is the engulf. So I can't believe I cannot go to the store right now and buy shit. I just fucking can't. What the fuck have these people done? Hey, you know what? Fuck them. They're not spending any money on their staff, and it's just welcome to fucking Yangville. So here's your breakout top become a bottom, the last gasp here. So I sold into this today actually on limits, and then I put buy limits below here. The robot did the same trade essentially. He bought this whole plunge. But look at this. Look at this. It comes to the floor. People cash out. Then there's a top become a bottom here. See how subtle that is? That's the 15-minute chart. And then it takes out this rooftop. Sellers come in. Sellers come in. Sellers, sellers, sellers. We never make it to this doji. And it comes smashing back the other way. So everybody that got all excited about this thing, they got in down here, and they're very unexcited now. They got in down here, and they're like, oh, well, this is going to be great. And then they're like, damn, what the fuck? We're already back to here? That's just not right, right? That's bad. Bad, bad, not good bad. Not that bad stuff that the rappers talk. That's bad. I think Michael Jackson coined that phrase. It's crazy, man. Don't even, like I said, you can't even imagine trading the British pound. I mean, you got to have, somebody asked for the indicated 100 pip grid. I could post it as a comment. You just look up grids, I don't want to be like no nonsense and go, it's out on the internet, dude. It is that all this stuff's on the internet, all these indicators like, I guess the search is pip grid or something, not pip grid, price grid, MT4 price grid. There's free, you can download the shit all day. There's like 2 different kind of ways to paint it on there, the way it paints on the screen. The original version I have doesn't have the numbers on the right, but later on I found the one, I like it when it has the numbers on the right so you can see the block, that black tag on the right. So I'd post this one. This is the 100 pip grid version. And I gotta put a trade here. I'm putting a half-hour buy limit rack in there. So pretty treacherous, and you got to be able to see the big picture. I'm only going back 2 days here on the 15-minute chart. That's plenty, unless you're going into new lows, and then that's I guess the qualifier is: are you in some giant move that you can't? Why does the market keep on making new highs every day? And then you would have to go to the daily chart. But look at the daily chart here on the British pound. That is the daily chart. Now, I know this looks like a trend here, and it is, right? If you sold here and you bought here, and this is your doji entry, that's a pretty good trade, huh? You sold here. That's a 100 pip grid. How about that trade? That is fucking nuts, isn't it? Did you ever see anything like that in your life? And I don't think you ever will. Again, that is the other weird thing, is that these are just historical situations. Everything's historical. I know people say, oh, it's never, yeah, but never before on some of this stuff, I'll tell you. We've never seen it before. We see very extreme moves. I don't think, and every week is unique, every day is unique, every moment's unique. There is no I know you don't want to believe it because you want to think you can build some algorithm that's going to be, no, if I could just optimize this one more notch, I think we got something here. Oh no, just one more notch of optimization. I think we can do it. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to work like that. It seems like you could, but look at that. Look how vicious that move is. Look at those wicks. See how smooth that line chart is? Here's a great, this is a monthly British pound. Nice little trend, huh? Then it's like, uh-oh. You know, this whole walk up, and then, wow, look at this. He ain't building the algorithm. This is a real price movement. That's a real wick. You know, you could draw lines very easily. You could see this. This is the shoulder, the head, no shoulder on the other side. You don't need one, I guess. All these are unique situations. This will probably never happen again. Just in that way, in that sizing. Probably not. I really doubt it. And fast and brutal. We just went down another. We just bounced we're bouncing like 10 pips every hour, 20 pips an hour, just smashing around. You're not going to build an algorithm for this. Why bother? Why backtest that? Now it is conceivable. You could backtest a breakout strategy and say I'm looking for a small bar, and that's going to be my criteria. I'm going to get in, but nothing's going to make it so that you can actually cash out at the optimal exit too. If you got into a breakout strategy here, did you really ride it all the way here for the whole year? That's 1 year from high of the year till end of the year, close down. Probably not, because you probably would have, or maybe you did Bill Williams. You added to a winner. You start to add to the position. Your pyramid. You sell again. You sell again. You sell again until you paint yourself into a corner, and that's working against you, because now it goes against you, and then you're like, oh my god. So the answer to me is, okay, build 50 trade plans, or build 10 trade plans. Have a market order. Have a stop. Have a limit. Have three trade plans. But then as soon as you make the 20 pip stop, now you make the 40 pip stop. Now, if you do that to each one of those, you got 6 trade plans. But that's the way you have to do it, because you can't drive a tank down a narrow road. You need to have some guy that's going to go down with a machine gun. If you think it's a war, he can go down an alleyway, or you got a guy on a motorcycle, or you got the Nazi sidecar, whatever it takes. And there's been plenty of times, I have a relative in the military who was in, the desert fighting, and lived there. Guess what country? And he's like killing people all day long, and it's all quiet. It's been 4 hours of nothing, and all he does is open up the lid of the fucking tank, and some guy kills him. Yeah, it's great that you got a tank, but as soon as you expose yourself, what is it going to take for some guy to just one shot in your head? You may have the biggest gun in the world. Same thing with these big boys. The bigger you are, the harder you fall. And too big to fail. No, you're really big like that, you could get hurt. So I know people that came to forex because of the money and the people with all the bling and stuff like that. And I could have a car like that, but along with that car goes, like if you own one of these Porsches, you can't change the oil yourself. It's like all this stuff is like every 5,000 miles you got to have this thing tweaked. Really? So you're probably going to drive it, park it, store it, and they might drive it down to the store for a kicks, but are you going to drive it like some rock star? Like you drive it like Keith Moon? He'd probably just sit there and do donuts in the driveway, drifting all over, smash it up, get another one. That's what the drummer from Zeppelin did. Didn't he smash a few cars up? Hey, give me another car. That one's gone. And they can afford to do it. And you could trade like that too. You could trade like, oh, I just flipped that account. Okay, I blew up that account. I get another account. Okay. Hey, look at this crazy market over here. That'd be my tequila buddies trading style. Hey, look at this. Look at this market. Then there's Poindexter with his pencil behind his ear and like, oh wait, did you look at the volume? Did you look at the ATR? You see the indicator I just built? It took me like forever. So we had this guy. I don't know. He probably doesn't listen anymore on my show, but this guy from England who, so he'd show us the charts on Skype, and we'd say, "Look at that." And the one guy said, "It looks like a Christmas tree." Oh, he has so many indicators, and he'd built indicators. I mean, insane indicators. And I thought, yeah, but what do you do? I mean, how do you know if you should pull the trigger? And this one guy, the guy that I had the fight with, Kelvin, he had literally every time frame from 1 minute to fucking monthly. And since MetaTrader wouldn't let you arrange that in an auto arrange vertical, and he had an Apple monitor which was like 144 wide or so, like a 1440 wide or some stuff. He had, or was it 2056 wide pixels, and he had everything stacked every time frame, and it was all Renko. And he had two currencies, so he had a pound on the top and like the yen and the pound or something. I said, how do you know what to do? He goes, well, they all line up. When the 1 minute says buy and then 1 monthly says buy, and how often does that happen? I don't know. Like I said, can you imagine that? The 1 minute, I get the idea that you're trying to encompass all the data with two schemes. The Renko indicator with two instruments, and you go from a 1 minute chart to a monthly chart. But honestly, would you stare at that chart all day? At some point, you'd say, well, I don't know if I'm making any money every day. And are you waiting for everything to all line up? All of the Renkos agree that, okay, this is definitely a trend. Let's get on it. And let's go. Let's go, guys. 2%. I think we got a trend. Let's risk it. Just keep forging ahead. I read in the books, it's a series of trades. And, of course, that is true, that you have to take 20 trades on that one algo or that one approach and just keep doing that thing over and over. So that's the other consideration is are you up for that? And the whole time you're doing this, it's costing you money. Now, you wouldn't see that if you bought a coffee shop that's closed down right now. If you bought a coffee shop and you're like, well, I did the math, I know how much the beans cost, I know how much its electricity is going to be. It's still costing you to run that thing, even if people do come in there. You still got to pay the electric bill. So you still got to pay commission spreads and trade losses. You still got to pay that. You know you're going to lose. But, if you're not going to lose the whole coffee shop, you're just going to lose, okay, you know what, we've got, some of these beans are stale or whatever, your inventory's decaying or nobody's coming in, so you just can't keep the lights on. You don't have the lights off if somebody drives by. Or it's now they can be LED lights and stuff. Somebody drives by and see your lights are off, they really want to come in. When they come in, is it going to be nice in there? Are they going to feel at home? Is it going to be what kind of play? What are you aiming at? What's your target audience? You're trying to get people that don't want to go to Starbucks. They want like a more personalized, down home bed and breakfast hookup. I always thought the best hookup would be laundry and coffee. The laundry coffee thing, and you can swap your underwear and stuff. But there's these kind of situations that are opportunities. So one man's stop hunts another man's limit entry. There's that approach. Yeah, but these markets are definitely making giant moves, and you have to just really. That's got to matter a lot if you trade big. Any kind of size. Yeah, robot's down $100 here. So the size you trade is going to affect you, I think, psychologically. And especially if you're not in big enough, you're going to think, God, I'm barely in the market. What's the point? You think you're trading for peanuts, right? So you're like, what's the point of this trade? My God. Just making a few. I'm looking. I got to go back to the small time frame on the. I want to see what the pound's doing here on the smaller time frame. Okay, so it went down and made a new low there. And it looks like the robot bought, so I think it just bought that. It got an 8K now. An 9K? Yeah, 8K. So we're actually, this thing's contrarian trading all day long, it looks like. And I think it executes at the market. When the spreads are tight, and I changed the spread filter on some of these to go really conservative and some are wide. I do think that is the holy grail, is to have like multiple trade plans running, multiple holy grails, because some of them are going to be, with the right settings, they're going to execute on that one trade. So you don't have to wait for the ideal situations to put on one giant trade. You just have things that are going to get in for, oh, it's going to do this, it's going to do that. That one made a little bit on this deal, and it's all that custom, all the custom work that's going to make it a nice, sturdy situation, because it's designed for each situation. Big giant swing trades blended with scalps, so that, yeah, you know, maybe the scalps made money today and the swing trade's never triggered, and you're still underwater in the swing trade, but you made enough money in the scalp that it's not so bad. And you can afford to pay for the swing because you scalp through some of the volatility and whatever sizing and whatever spacing. But I think the worst thing you could do is think that, well, you're gonna do this trade thing where you've got this special indicator, and all you have to do is go scanning for trades. You know, this scanning concept. I hit my moving average. Now I'm just going to apply it, and you could do that. That's also a lot of work, you know, if you think about it, because you got to go to the next one, then you got to hem and haw about, is this really a good setup? Is this really going to be a good trade? It's worked out before, and then of course your brain's going to immediately go to the history of the chart and go, yeah, see how back here when this happened, that happened. Yeah, but it's slightly different, and it's a wider move, and is that really going to work again? And should we just wait for that one entry to do that one trade plan? I mean, these are all considerations. So that's another aspect of it, is that, you know, is it going to be something that is repeatable, and you're going to keep coming back to these trades and making them, you know. And it's so, here, 1 minute before the top of the hour, so it's 10 o'clock, big smash. It's 1 hour hard down, 20 pips, and then a little bit further down here. British pound looks like it's going to keep tanking. Hopefully we're going to buy a 9K. I'm hoping the robot's going to execute a 9K here. And it's really hard to go against the a fast market going against you as you load the wagon is psychologically demanding, because you're basically you're wondering, well, why aren't I on the other side of this trade? Instead of having my drawdowns, I have a fast drawdown. Why aren't I making money quickly in the other direction? Well, because the market's in a down move, and unless you were on the other side, you know, profiting from the move, then it's like, yeah, it's not that trade's not going to happen for you, right? You're waiting for the retracement. Okay, 10 o'clock, boom. So we just hit 10 o'clock, and we went down like 30 pips here in 2 hours in the euro. Now wait for the retracement now. British pound, same story, I'd say here. Look at the 1 hour British pound. So down, and then actually down harder in this last hour. So now we're looking for some kind of retracement. And this robot had just bought the 9K, so that's perfect. So we bought, and I think it's just executing when it sees that price show up. Instead of laying a track of limits, it just executes when it sees that price show up. Here's the 1 hour euro. So down hard and then down a little softer. Not down as hard. And this one just bought a 9K. So we're in like, we just picked up another 20K here. So I like that. That looks nice. I think we could make this account. So we're down $700 though. It costs us money to buy this plunge. 10 o'clock. Now we could get like a 10 or 20 pip rally here coming into the opening of. Well, this would be the big Asian kind of sell off, and then in the next 2 hours by midnight, we could conceivably go up about 20 pips here, and then maybe it's going to be all drifty and weird. But yeah, you got to have some very wide trade plans, and you got to be trading smaller than normal to have the same kind of metric financially. And I don't know if it's that easy to switch gears from trading really big to very small, and trading really big when the market's quiet and really small when the market's all over the fucking place and loud and just smashing up and down. Because it doesn't take much money to make money. In other words, if you have a 100 pip stop and you put the orders in 25 pips apart, you can hardly notice financially the move. It looks amazing on the chart. And when the market's really quiet, you could never be in that same size, because now you're going to risk 10 times as much money. So if you risk, now you're going to risk 10 grand instead of a grand. And the only rationale there is that, oh, but if I risk a grand, I can make like 20 grand. I always think about the guy that said, "Can I just make 16 grand a day?" Yeah, sure. If you're willing to lose 30 grand one day and make 40 grand the next day, and then but to come up with a number is, it's like each day is different. And right now, the way the markets are, the volatility being so high, those patterns do exist, but man, they cover a giant area in price. Look at this trend trade, so to speak. And the 1 hour euro goes up, you sell. Here's a doji, here's a breakout. Does breakout trading work? Do I need to back test that? No, you can see it worked. You can see when we came into this price, the scalpers drove it to there. The sellers that sell at the market in a so-called downtrend, or just how about a slight rally, you sell a big position with a tight stop. Slight rally, sell big position with a tight stop. Is your target here? Well, maybe your target is here. I highly doubt that you sold this and then you got out here after an hour. But you did amazingly, you did if you're a market trader. Because you sell if you sell if it closed up, you buy if it goes down. You're out of that trade. By that simple rule, you're out of that trade. The only problem is that's a huge move. And did you put a really tight stop and you go 40 standard lot short here? You made more money in 1 hour. You could have stepped away from that whole market and go, I'm done. Or you could have bought here and waited 4 hours for it to come back to here. So hard down, drift up. The hard down, drift up theory of trading. So that's the other side of the coin, so to speak. The hard down, drift up. And there's a hard down, hard up. You've seen those patterns. The V bottom, this is what they talk about the economy. We'd like to see a V bottom. Or there's some guy on the TV explaining different kinds of bottoms. And it wasn't like boy or girl bottoms. It was like, well, we'll have here is like, this would be like a saucer bottom. Now, if you could picture a saucer, a cross section. Okay, I mean, imagine we cut the saucer. I know you have to talk like that. People at home, the layman. I said the layman. What, these guys getting laid? I'm not. Who are these people? So far, this slam dance counter trend bot is doing pretty good. I like it in this market, in this moment. Now I'm going to change some settings. I want to load some more charts. So I did put up duplicate charts. I've actually got 2 different robots running on the yen. Where's my yen? I know I got 2 yen charts here. So I put 2 Eurodollar charts up. The fuck? my God, this goddamn thing shuffled the charts on me. Yeah, so here's the 15-minute euro, and then two different robots, and the yen's got two. So see this thing selling up into this. We're selling up into that rally, counter trend trade in that. So here's the trick. I was able to save this unique template with this robot on it, this free Ryan bot. And what I did was I changed the settings, and then I saved the template, which includes the expert advisor, the robot that is on that chart, with those settings. So and then I name the template by the settings of the robot. I call off so if you look down the settings, all the numbers there for his relative momentum index, or whatever the thing he's kind of created, some momentum index, those settings. And then I guess I'd have to come up with a code system to know which one has the 5 pip grid, which one has a 20 pip grid, which one has the spread filtered X, and of course it goes on and on there. More issues, complexity, but how are you going to arrange all the other settings to call them out? So when you put that template on, you know that's what's going on. And you could have 10 Eurodollar charts with 10 the same robot with 10 different settings running. And if you wanted to get carried away, you would tell the robots to turn on and off. But I'm not doing that because I have the spread filters set so that it's not going to trade in Asia when the spread is wide anyway. It's going to ignore that trade. So that's kind of a sessions filter in a way. Apparently, you will not execute unless the spread is tight. So that's good. So the settings in there, it's not the perfect bot, but it's free. And there's probably better bots and all that you could tweak. But I haven't gone to that extent yet, and I probably could. And I couldn't get it to load that one time because the computer could not handle taking in all those free EAs that you can run, and probably change those as a template with this particular settings. So I don't think there's a need to buy a robot. It's all about the settings. That's the magic. I mean, that's the core of what matters is the settings. That determines when the thing trades, how it trades, and all that. And maybe you do have this robot that barely executes, and is it worth running that one? But you never know that, right? You don't know until you open your coffee shop who's going to really like. And of course, if you've ever written music of famous people that written music, or became famous from their music, typically the last cut on the album is the band says, "Oh, I want to do that cut." The first track on a piece of vinyl is the higher res playback, right? Because the needle's going faster on the edge of the track, so it's a very high res recording. And actually, if it's direct to disc, it's higher res than a CD. It's like the sample rate's like 1 million instead of 44.1K, and that's so that last track can be an amazing track, but they got to sell that first track as the hit single or stuff like that. So you got to pay the rent with that one. But the other ones, the band wants that. This is the better track. Like Diamond Dust is a good track, right? Last track, it sounds like shit on the album because Neil gets that center. Plus, if your tone arm starts to skate into the thing, anti-skating. But all this stuff and the markets, wow. I mean, it's been a slam dance. This has been this is the kind of like the culmination of all this volatility. And we're gonna calm down here. The markets are gonna consolidate, and then we'll get another move. And then after this week, wow, It's crazy, man. There's like gold is really up there, 1700s, I think, or something. Last time I looked. And I guess could be a global inflation issue. Everything's going to get expensive. But that stuff's cheap still. You can still buy computers really cheap. And now look at gasoline. Very cheap for gas. I don't think that's going to last too much longer. So everything's kind of very calm here. It looks like people shorted gold here at the very top. Look at this wick. Nice scalp off the top of gold there. I think you could put a fork in that for a while. That was quite an achievement in gold to make it to 1700. Yeah, you're kind of like, oof. Looks like a big fat trap up here. And look at this 1 month trade in gold. If you had limits sitting down here, and I do mean limits, you'd have to try to capture, because getting a precise entry in that wick, I don't think so. Look how much money you just made on that. We're coming up in these rooftops here. So this is the basement of two buildings, of several buildings, like I guess the city there. We made it above that. This is the I guess the fall through the floor. People freaked out here. I remember when this happened. People, they're manipulating the market. Okay, yeah, you want them to manipulate the market. You want them to move it down so you can buy a better price. Look at this whole year here from the very top to down, almost the whole year down, but then recovery it created a doji in the end. So you had the body and the wick, kind of a hammer actually. It created a hammer, I guess you could say. And now I think it's done. I would definitely sell there, if not just for the scalp. So I'm sure I'm not alone on that. Everybody's cashing out. I wish I could get a toilet paper chart here. That's the 1 hour view. So let's see how that is. We made it above the high of the day on the hourly chart. These people got filled and they cashed out. It's already over. And they kind of just nicked that little wick there today and just it's sideways. Look like a cave in here though, doesn't it? Go either way now. Got space forming above and below. So all sorts of stuff could happen there. I can't pay attention to all these markets though, so it's way too much. The robot could do it. I didn't put any robots on these. Looks like Boeing's got a triangle for me here, which just means it's low volatility. This is stabilized. That looks like a nice place to buy some more of that. If you didn't get that deep discount at 100. And what else? You get the stock markets. Not a big sell-off in stocks here. Gave back a little bit to try setting up for next price pulse. I moved all these charts over, but something went terribly wrong. Like I moved these all over here. Dragged them over, but somehow I reshuffled the deck. So we're just kind of stabilizing here in the Dow Jones, same as the S&P. I'm above my baseline, so I'm thinking about buying that pullback there. But I usually only buy it if it's a bullish day. I need some confirmation on that entry. I ain't gonna just get in there. What do you think? Do I look stupid? No. Do I look stupid? No, you sound stupid. Okay, got me there. So it's gonna be. Man, I'm telling you what. These people are such. Americans are so soft and wimpy. I think everybody turned into a girl. They're like, well, there's actually some G.I. Janes out there. But we don't have even that anymore. And it's like, oh boy. You mean to tell me 2,000 people died out of 10 million? Yeah, I know. I know you can't believe this. So you're sitting down? Well, who's been dying? 80-year-old people. Now, I think we all want to live forever. But dude, like when you go on that ride at the county fair. There's a point when the ride's over. So yeah, we got a clean house here, people. Got a clean house. Boy, they cleaned house on this S&P 500 chart, didn't they? Man, they beat people to death. I bet that Norman Michael is just, he bought the S&P on that drop down there. I bet he's saying, "Hey, told you, see, told you," and he should say that. His thing is the mental mindset. You got to be able to just go, "Dude, this is an opportunity. I know you're shitting your pants." Yeah, we should be coming back here on this. Here's the 5-minute euro. Big smash down here is the 1 hour chart. I'm sorry, I'll go to the 15 because we just updated the 15. So see that smash down? And that was the exact bottom of the hour on the half hour. So you would have bought with a wide stop. It's down hard, and now you're holding. And this is kind of the Asian breakdown. Here's the top become a bottom on the half hour and then down. And let's hope that you were getting out along the way, because every time you nicked one of these wicks, there was a guy buying. There was a guy buying. He never got filled here. But he probably bought this whole slice down. I'm talking about the winning. The guy that's up on that trade right now, he's already cashed out. He bought that whole thing. He's cashed out on something on that move. Now he's hoping for a rally to here. And that's me. I'm cashing out as this goes up. So I prepare for these plunges. Somebody asked, what do you do if it keeps plunging? Hopefully you got enough money in the account to, or enough tickets in there to get something. I think the size of the plunge, the speed of the plunge, and this robot here doesn't have a clue of the speed. It just knows, hey, let's keep going down. Let's keep going. I don't think it's looking at the speed here. Look at a nice fat position going now. If I go for the biggest loser is 12 pips down, $12 down. The biggest winner, oh, that's the history. That's not the live. Biggest winner is a $7. Biggest loser is 15. And that's on the euro versus yen. That's a blistering, and I'm thinking about taking that out of the basket, because the euro to the pound, the dollar, the euro to the dollar, and pound to the dollar, I could build 10 robots on each of those two currencies. That give me 10 screens running. Because it gets out of hand after a while. You probably want to put it on a cloud. If you're going to try every currency pair, but if you have 10 robots on the euro and 10 robots on the pound, and they're tweaked a certain particular way, setting-wise, and you just let the thing go. And there's a spread filter on one there's not. And I guess once you got used to how this thing trades, you'd know, yeah, it's saving you the labor of pulling the trigger on these trades. I see what it's doing. I know the style it's trading. And cut your losses short. Another dumb shit thing to say. Which loss? How much is a loss? What's a loss to you? $15. I could get rid of that loser there. They'd make you do that in the States. First in, first out. I don't really like that. I like to hold the whole basket and then dump as it retraces. Can't do that anymore. Because why? Well, because there's a lockdown and there's a... You can't hedge. So I want to move to the country. This is the country everybody wants to move to. Let's see. You can't hedge. First in, first out. No leverage. You can't go to the store. Okay. Well, I can't wait to get there. People are dying. People are getting on boats and inner tubes to get here. You got to wonder why sometimes. And maybe it isn't. Maybe the American dream is just a dream. You know, that you really are free or something. You really own something. I'm sure it is for some people. Now, if you grew up in this time, you probably think there's a standard operating procedure. Like, that's just how it is, man. Whatever. It really depends how old you are. I suppose how you view the world. And, you know, the trading pits as opposed to the on-screen trading. Those are two different worlds. And this robot thing, the latest and greatest approach to making money. Yeah, so far this robot's it's not doing too bad. I'm babysitting the robot instead of the market. You got to do something. You got to turn it on. That's for sure. And you got to leave the computer going, or put it on the cloud. Okay, so looks like a long, drifty retrace possibly on the euro. See, I didn't put it on the guppy because the spread here is like 3 pips in Asia. This should be trading now, you know. I don't trade the guppy because the spread sucks. It's not scalpable. Look at this. You got to make up 3 pips. And it's hardly moving. And the spread sucks. That's a 100 pip grid on a 4-hour chart. So here's a market that's insane. It looks like a great setup here to buy in the daily, though. I was just pulled back. It's all quiet. Something's gonna get crazy here, up or down. And that's another thing. Is like the guppy. You could have traded that last month and be like, "Holy shit, that was amazing! Those guppy trades were amazing." And now it's dead in the water, just like it's been on this whole chart. The whole time it's just dead in the water. Yeah, the guppy pound against the yen. Somebody nicknamed that because of the way the symbol looks, but yeah, I mean, that is dead in the water now. Put a fork in it. It's dead. It's done. Time to put it on the grill. And crude oil looks like it's poising for a nice rally here. It's come back to the fair value of. Here's the floor it was trapped under. The sellers came in there. They pull it down. Now it's caught in this mid-range. All we need is a little bit here. And tomorrow they're going to announce the first states to open up. Now, these people in Oklahoma, they got like, that's a state in the United States. I'm sorry, this the states of lockdown. You can't, they're like, oh, we're thinking about opening it up at the end of the month. Dude, you got like 5 dead people. There's 10,000 dead people in New York. They'll probably open up New York tomorrow. They're like, come on, let's go eat. Fuck this shit. What happened to these tough-ass New Yorkers are tough people, really? What are y'all licking each other over there? No, there's a lot of old people, man. You got so many fucking people in the United States. 1970, there's 200 million people in the United States in 1970. Now you got 330 or 320 million people. I'm sorry, yeah, million people. That is a lot more. That's like 30% more people. Or, I don't know, 70% more. That's a lot of people more. And they're older. There's more people. And they're older people. People are living longer. And this, it's apparently this is the virus that a bat has, kind of like rabies, I suppose. I don't know. I thought rabies was the problem with bats. Is rabies 19, and okay, so it's jumped species or something. This is like some kind of like AIDS supposedly from monkeys and all this stuff. I don't know what these people are banging monkeys and bats for, but why this happens? It's just kind of Mother Nature, I suppose, right? I mean, who's planning on a volcano wiping out your house? Remember the lava over in Hawaii? The volcano. Oh, look at this crazy shit. And but that was a natural event. The lockdown on people being able to have a restaurant and stuff is um, that's a man-made event. That's not a natural disaster. Hard to believe people would shoot themselves in the foot, but that's how it is. And so, and the piling on and the panic, and it's pretty sad, I must say. Pretty sad because people that own hard assets, people that have real things. So you could get stopped out of a trade, but to get stopped out of your gardening, your nursery with all your plants that are dying because you're not allowed to sell plants because planting those or you have a beach runs. You're a beach bum and you can't even. There's nobody walking on the beach. What's that about? In the spread, I mean, these things happen, don't they? Are we going to turn off? Are we going to turn everything off every time there's well, probably not again, because who's going to focus ever again? And who brought you this stuff? All the scientists, all the experts, all the projections, all the modelers brought you this bullshit. Brought to you by your latest dumb shit that came out of college. I guess there was a million lines of code on this model that said 2 million people in the United States would die. Just because you have a bunch of indicators and code doesn't mean you know what the fuck you're doing. Another example of just, that thought process creeps into every aspect of every endeavor. Look at the smart car. What a piece of shit. This thing's so fragile. My God. It won't start because this computer can't see. There's a computer running your car? That's not right. I mean, it's okay, but it's just looking to get broken. It's asking you to get blown up. So if you trade like that, same thing, right? Having a good old market ticket available, having a good old view of okay, this is, and you have to have some money that you made, so you don't have to trade every day or every minute, so to speak. You don't have to trade every minute. Or even every week. You could take the whole week off at trading. You made enough money. Go trade the demo. People say, why would you trade the demo? Because I'm not going to step in these fucking insane markets. If I don't have a trade plan for fucking 80 pips up in 1 hour, I'm just going to go trade the demo. Well, you're just trading a demo. Well, you don't know how to trade? No, I'm not stupid enough to join a band where I can't even fucking take a guitar solo. What's the point of joining the band? You're just going to sit there and play. I don't get the metal shit. You guys just going to play fucking flat out like you're going to gent. This is where you staccato with a bunch of gain. Maybe you tune your strings down a half step to get this thick sounding, chunky sound. Okay, it gets old. I don't want to be smashed in the head every millisecond. There's double kick drumming. When I saw that, I go, what's going on here, people? The fuck are you doing with these drums? Well, I got double kick, triple kick. Holy fuck. Listen to old music. There is no kick drum. There's nothing. Somebody just have a tambourine. Some of the biggest fucking songs in the world, some guy's just hacking out a tambourine into some shitty fucking ribbon mic with tons of fucking tape. Just a big fucking mess. Look at the half-hour chart. So we just updated the half-hour chart. We're getting this rally now. This Ryan bot's gonna make back. He's gonna make it back. Swing Trader Supreme. Anyways. I think I could go get some more. I had to stock up on my favorite nonsense foods. Total nonsense foods. My comfort food. Man. What are the stats here on dead people? Let me take a look here. I'm just curious. They've closed the markets on dead people today. Where did it come out here on the numbers? Okay, United States. We got 2,400 dead people, so we double the. We're at 28,000 dead people in the United States. We're losing 3,000 people a day in traffic accidents. What does that come out to? How many days of bad driving is that? Yeah, this is crazy shit. So, yeah, this is going to be something else, and it reshuffled the deck there real quick, didn't it? But it's good. It's healthy to streamline things now. I think everything just got very streamlined, I'd have to say. So this is quite the drift back out of that hole. This was a nice drift back. Here was a slam down, drift up. Slam down, drift up. Drift down. Drift up a little bit. Maybe down again. So I'm a big buyer down here. If we make it back down there, I'm going to buy some more. I know it's tough to be underwater on a trade. Or get stopped out. Keep getting stopped out. A perfectly good trade, so to speak. Okay, it's time to go watch a old movie from 1995.